More than brothers, I am an old man now. My hair is gray and my face has many lines, but I remember my teenage years very well. I often think about those days. One day, I found an old photograph in a box in my attic yesterday. It was a picture of two young boys with big, happy smiles. One of those boys was me, and the other was my best friend, Alex. Looking at that picture took me back to a different time. A time of long summer days, and no real worries at all. A time when our friendship felt like the strongest thing in the world. Alex and I were more than just friends. We were like brothers. We lived on the same street, and we did everything together. We understood each other without ever needing to say a word. Our adventures were small, but they felt very big to us then. We would ride our bikes to the edge of town just to see. We explored the small woods behind our houses for many hours. We had a secret hideout in an old tree high in the branches. It was our private kingdom where we would talk about our dreams. We dreamed of being astronauts and famous rock stars in the future. Life was simple and it was good, a very peaceful, easy time. We thought that those sunny days would last for all of our lives. We did not know that storms were waiting for us in the future. Alex's father was a very kind and very strong, gentle man. He would sometimes play games with us in the backyard after work. He taught us how to throw a baseball and how to fix a bike. He had a warm laugh that could make anyone feel very happy. He always had a good story to tell or some advice to give. To me, he was like a second father that I could look up to. I remember one afternoon, we were all working in his garage. He was showing us how to build a small wooden go-kart. His hands were strong and sure, and he was so patient with us. That is one of my favorite memories of that simple time. A time of safety and of learning from a very good man. A time before the world decided to change everything for us. Then one Tuesday, the clear blue sky of our youth turned dark gray. I got a phone call from my mother. Her voice was very strange. She told me something had happened. Something terrible at Alex's house. She told me that Alex's father had a sudden heart attack. She said that he had passed away in the hospital that morning. The words did not make sense. My mind could not accept them. I dropped the phone, and I ran out of my house without my shoes. I ran down the street to Alex's house. My heart was a stone. The world around me was silent. I could not hear anything. I saw Alex sitting on the front steps of his quiet house. His face was empty, and his eyes were looking at nothing at all. He was my best friend, but he looked like a complete stranger. I did not know what to say. There were no words for this. All of our talks about space and music seemed so stupid now, so I just sat down next to him on the cold steps. We sat there in silence for a very long time, maybe for hours. The sun went down and the streetlights came on, but we did not move. My presence was the only thing that I could offer to him. In the days that followed, Alex's house was full of sad people. Family and neighbors came to bring food and to say sorry. Alex stayed in his room. He did not want to talk to anyone. I would go to his house every day and just sit outside his door. Sometimes I would talk to him, telling him I was there for him. Most of the time, I would just sit there in the quiet hallway. I wanted him to know that he was not going through this alone. Even if he wanted to be alone, I would be alone with him. That is what being a brother meant, to share the darkness. During that time, I tried to help his mother with small things. I would take out the trash or help with the dishes in the sink. I did not know what else to do. I just wanted to be useful. The funeral was the hardest day, a day of so much rain. It felt like the sky was crying with us for the man we lost. Alex stood there like a soldier, but his heart was broken. After the funeral, a new kind of silence filled Alex's life. The visitors stopped coming, and the house became very quiet. It was a heavy silence, full of memories and so much pain. Alex changed after his father's death. He became more serious. The happy light in his eyes was gone, replaced by a shadow. He did not talk about his dreams or the future anymore. He spent most of his time alone in his father's old garage. He would just stand there and look at all of his father's tools. The place was a museum of a man who was no longer there. I was so worried about him. I wanted to help him find the light. I wanted to see my old friend again, the boy with the big smile. I knew I had to do something to pull him from the shadows. One day, I went into the garage with a new and simple plan. I pointed to the old go-kart that we had started to build. The go-kart was unfinished, just like our childhood was now. I told him that we should finish it, just like we had planned. I said his father would want us to finish the work we started. I thought working with our hands might help to heal our hearts. At first, Alex did not want to. He said he did not feel like it, but I did not give up on him. I kept asking him every day. I brought over the wood and the tools that we would need. Finally, one afternoon, he picked up a hammer from the bench. He did not say a word. He just started to work on the go-kart, and I worked right beside him in a comfortable, old silence. We spent every day that summer working together in that garage. We did not talk much about his father or about our sadness. We just worked. We measured wood and we hammered in the nails. The garage became our new hideout, our new and safe kingdom. It was a place where we could be sad without having to talk. It was a place where we could heal slowly and piece by piece. Working on that project together gave us a shared new purpose. It was something to focus on, something to build with our hands. It was our way of fighting back against the sadness. Slowly, very slowly, I started to see small changes in Alex. Sometimes a small smile would appear on his face for a moment. Sometimes he would tell a joke, like he used to do before. He started to talk more about his father, but in a new way. He would tell me stories, happy memories of the good times. He was not just remembering the loss. He was remembering the love. Our friendship became deeper and stronger than it ever was. It was not just based on fun and games anymore. It was more. It was a bond that was built on loyalty and on shared grief. We were no longer just boys. We were young men now. We had faced a great storm together, and we had survived it. We knew we could always count on each other for anything. The day we finally finished the go-kart was a very proud day. It was not perfect, but we had built it with our own two hands. It was a symbol of our friendship and our quiet resilience. We took it to the top of the biggest hill in our small town. We both got in, squeezed together in the small wooden seat. We were ready for the first and the most important test ride. I looked at Alex, and for the first time in a very long time, I saw the old sparkle in his eyes. The light was coming back. He was still sad, but he was also ready to live again. We pushed off, and the go-kart started to roll down the hill. It went faster and faster. The wind was blowing in our hair. For a few moments, we were just two happy boys once again. That ride down the hill was the end of a very sad chapter. It was the beginning of a new one, a future we would face. We did not know what was next, but we knew we had each other. That go-kart ride became a legend in our small book of stories. It was the day that we started to look forward again. We were still teenagers, but we had learned so much. We stayed best friends all through the rest of our high school. We helped each other with our homework and our future plans. We talked about everything, from cars to the girls we liked. Our friendship was the anchor that kept us steady in our lives. We knew that no matter what happened, we had each other's back. That knowledge gave us a lot of confidence to face the world. Then the time came for us to think about our real futures. We had to decide what we wanted to study in the university. We spent many nights talking about our different hopes and dreams. I always loved building things, so I wanted to study engineering. I wanted to design big bridges and tall, impressive buildings. My path seemed very clear, and it was very straightforward. Alex, on the other hand, had found a new passion in the garage. He discovered that he loved to create things with his own hands. He had a talent for art, for making beautiful things from wood. He decided that he wanted to go to a special art school. He wanted to learn how to be a furniture designer or a sculptor. His path was creative and was full of so much passion. We were both so very happy for each other's chosen paths. But we also realized that our paths were going to be different. They were leading us to two different cities far away. The thought of being separated was a very sad and hard one. We had never been apart for more than a couple of weeks. The idea of living in different cities was very scary to us. We sat in our old hideout in the tree for one last time. We made a promise to each other under the summer stars. We promised that the distance would never change our friendship. We promised we would call each other every single week. We promised we would write letters and visit on the holidays. We promised that we would always be brothers no matter what. So we packed our bags and we said a very difficult goodbye. We went off to our new lives in our different big cities. The first few months apart were the hardest ones for me. My new university was big, and I did not know anyone there. I felt very lonely in the middle of so many new faces. I missed the easy comfort of my friendship with my friend Alex. We kept our promise, and we called each other every Sunday. We would talk for hours about our new classes and new friends. It was the best part of my week, hearing his familiar voice. We shared our struggles, and we shared all our small victories. I told him about my hard exams, and he told me about his art. We were still a team, just a team that was long distance. When we came home for our first winter holiday, it was amazing. The moment we saw each other, it was like no time had passed. We fell back into our old friendship so very easily. We spent the whole holiday together, just like the old days. We even took our old go-kart for another ride down the hill. We laughed, and we felt like nothing in the world had changed. But as the years went on, life started to get much busier. We had more exams, part-time jobs, and new relationships. Our lives were becoming fuller and more complicated than before. The weekly phone calls started to become less and less frequent. Sometimes a whole month would pass without us talking to each other. A new kind of silence grew between us, a silence of distance. It was not because of a fight or any kind of angry words. It was just the natural course of life pulling us apart. But it still made me feel a little bit sad and worried. I missed my best friend and the simple connection that we had. I wondered if our promise was strong enough to survive time. I wondered if we were becoming strangers with shared memories. We both graduated from our universities, and we started our careers. I became an engineer, and I started to design big buildings. Alex became a successful artist. His work was in galleries. We were adults now, with adult lives and new responsibilities. We lived in two different worlds, and our connection felt thin. We would send a text message on birthdays and at New Year. Then one year, my own life was hit by a very big storm. I lost my job, and I went through a very difficult time. I felt lost and alone, just like Alex did many years ago. I did not know who to talk to. I felt so very ashamed. Then one night, I picked up the phone and I called Alex. We had not spoken in almost 6 months, but I needed him. I told him everything that had happened. My voice was shaking. He did not say much. He just listened to me on the phone. When I was done, he only said, "I will be there tomorrow." He took a plane the next morning, and he came to my city. He showed up at my door, and he gave me a strong, tight hug. He did not ask questions. He did not offer any cheap advice. He just stayed with me for a whole week, sitting in my house. We did not talk much, just like in the old days in the hallway. His quiet, steady presence was the support that I needed. He was there for me, just like I had been there for him. He was repaying a debt that neither of us had ever recorded. He was being a brother when I needed one the most. In that week, I realized how wrong I had been to worry. Our friendship was not gone. It was just sleeping quietly. It was a deep river that was still flowing under the surface. The foundation we had built as boys was made of strong stuff. It was made of loyalty and shared pain and a deep respect. A bond like that does not need daily calls to stay alive. True friendship is not about talking every single day. It is about knowing that someone will be there for you, no matter how much time or distance separates you from them. After that visit, we started to talk more often again. We made more of an effort to see each other during the year. We learned that a strong friendship also needs a little work. Now we are older and our lives are still very different, but the connection between us is as strong as it ever was. We have a history that nothing in the world can ever erase. I am still looking at that old photograph of two young boys. I see the smiles on our faces and the innocence in our eyes. We did not know what life had in store for us back then. We did not know about the sadness or the distance or the pain. We only knew that we had a best friend to face it with. And that was the only thing that really mattered in our lives. People come and go in your life, like ships in the night. But if you are lucky, you find one or two true friends. Friends who become your family, your anchor in the big storm. Alex is my anchor. He has been for almost my entire life. He is the brother I chose, and I am so grateful for him. Our story is one of friendship that was tested by life. And it is a story of a bond that time could never break. I know that no matter where we are or how old we get, we will always be those two boys in a garage, building something. We will always be those two young men on a hill, ready to fly. We will always be there for each other in the light and dark, because that is what it means to be a true best friend. I hope this session was helpful. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more such interesting stories. Take care, everyone.